Central Illinois election officials are already fighting misinformation. That's just one of the things you'll want to hear about to start your day for Tuesday, August 13th. I'm Colin Shope, and this is WCBU's On Deck. First on deck today, federal funding brings almost $1 million to Peoria Heights for an update to water infrastructure. WCBU's Tim Shelley reports.
The $959,000 covers more than a third of the project to replace water mains and lead service lines along Route 29 in Peoria Heights. Congressman Eric Sorensen announced the funding Monday, highlighting his own role in passing the community project funding request along to the Appropriations Committee.
I've had many conversations over the course of the past couple of years with parents who are nervous about turning on the faucet and giving a glass of water to their kids. When you're a parent, you have to have 100% trust in what you're doing for the betterment of your kids.
Peoria Heights Community Development Director Wayne Aldrich says engineering on the project starts next year with an end date before 2027 when IDOT plans a total road reconstruction.
Most distribution lines and lines of this type in the village are probably beyond their service life. They're old, iron lines, which will probably replace with PVC, more modern materials.
Long-term, Aldrich says a comprehensive update to the village's water infrastructure could total over $30 million. For WCBU's On Deck, I'm Tim Shelley.
Here are some other stories we're following in the WCBU newsroom. The issue of Peoria allowing residents to raise chickens on their property goes back before the city council at its next meeting. And applications have opened for Illinois voters to have a mail ballot sent directly to them ahead of the November election. Plus, this school year will be the first in Illinois where public schools have access to state-approved education materials regarding overdose. You can find more of these stories and all the details at WCBU.org. Election officials in Central Illinois are gearing up for a presidential election season full of misinformation and disinformation. They hope viral falsehoods won't keep people from the polls in November. Authorities are getting out ahead of some of the rumors and falsehoods already circulating. Here's Peoria County Election Commission Executive Director Elizabeth Gannon.
Peoria County saw this just a few weeks ago. I had an election judge contact me saying, hey, I got this really odd text message asking if saying that I wasn't signed up for vote by mail and to click on this link.
Gannon says the link led to a spoofed government website, prompting individuals to enter their personal information, preying on concerns about vote by mail. Just last week, the Illinois State Board of Elections put out a statement refuting a viral claim from someone pretending to be an election judge. That person claimed judges mark some ballots with a pen to throw away later. Gannon says the judges are required to initial every ballot as part of the process.
If you see something that doesn't seem right, call us and ask us. Don't just assume or spread that information. We really need your help with that as well.
Tazewell County Clerk John Ackerman also encourages voters to get in touch with his office as a primary source of information in that county when it comes to things like voting machine security. Ackerman says the machines are tested in a session open to the public prior to voting. After voting, the State Board of Elections randomly selects 5% of precincts to be retabulated to check against election night's totals. As far as the machines being compromised by hackers or outside influences, Ackerman points out that Illinois municipalities use around 8 different vendors for the machines.
Having it decentralized, having local control of our election process, actually provides the state of Illinois with more safety and security, because you can't have one method that would be able to attack every single jurisdiction. You'd have to have endless amounts of different variations to go in and try to attack.
The officials also addressed the topic of non-citizen votes swaying federal elections, a topic already appearing in election campaigns. Across Tazewell, Peoria, and McLean counties, none of the panel could remember an example in central Illinois of investigating a suspected non-citizen vote. The closest situation came from Gannon, about a person going through the citizenship process accidentally registering.
They run that background check and they're seeing, oh, I'm registered to vote. I didn't even know I was. And we create a letter stating, yes, this was a human error, that they were registered to vote. They've never cast a ballot, and as a result, we have removed them from the voter rolls.
Officials acknowledge that Illinois does not require an ID to vote, but as Ackerman points out, you do have to be registered, which requires some extra footwork. He says lying about being a citizen at the polls is a felony that would result in deportation.
They got here. They want to be here. The last thing they want to do is cross that line and have something occur that gets them removed. How do we know that one political party is not paying them off to flood the votes to get them in there? Well, that party isn't going to be able to maintain them here after they're caught and deported. They don't want that to happen.
Then there's the matter of mail-in ballots, which Ackerman says have raised questions. What's stopping you from voting mail-in, going to early voting and voting again, and even going to the polling place on Election Day for a third vote? Gannon says the answer lies in voter rolls and records reviewed both before and during election certification.
So if you are sent a vote-by-mail ballot, that is attached to your voter registration record. And when you go to early vote, our poll books are going to say that you have been issued a vote-by-mail ballot. If you go on to Election Day and you have already early voted, the election judges check you in, the poll book will say, you have already early voted.
The panel says one of the best ways to see the process play out is to get involved. Ackerman and Gannon both say they're always looking for poll watchers and election judges. They believe transparency is key, and the best way to become familiar with the system is by becoming a part of it. Early voting starts September 26th, and the general election is November 5th. Now, before we let you go, tonight is a regular meeting of the Peoria City Council. Those meetings start at 6 p.m. in council chambers at City Hall on Fulton Street. If you can't make the meeting, it's also broadcast live on WCBU 89.9 FM and streamed online at WCBU.org. And that's all for today. You can subscribe to WCBU's On Deck podcast on the NPR app, Apple, Spotify, or YouTube Music.